Review RFP/RFQ.
That is for the water project. We requested RFPs and RFQs get sent out. We sent them out to 3 different companies for both. We received 2 RFQs back and 2 RFPs back. I had a note done. Reviewed everything. I sent it down. Aha. I reviewed the Council of Government RFQ and the MSA one, which is for the CDBG grant writing for the administrative portion. I used the worksheet provided to us to review them. For Region 12, familiarity with the Iowa Department of Economic Development CDBG program. The maximum points allowed was 15. I gave them a 15. MSA, I also gave them a 15. Experience in administrating CDBG programs, maximum points was 25. I gave them both 25 on that. Successful experience in grant writing proposals for municipalities, the maximum points was 25. I gave them both 25 on that. Ability to proceed promptly, maximum points was 10. I gave them both 10. Familiarity with the City of Wall Lake and its drinking water system improvement project. I gave Region 10, Region 12 a 12. As far as I know, they haven't done anything with our water program, but they are aware of what goes, what's happening in the City of Wall Lake. MSA has done extensive work on it, so I gave them a 15. Cost, maximum point was 10. Region 12's cost was $15,000, and MSA's was 12. I gave Region 12 a 9, and I gave MSA a 10. Maximum total points, Region 12 was 96. Maximum total points for MSA was 100. I think that's right. Oh. On the RFPs that we requested, we received one from Sunquist in Denison and one from MSA of Aiken. The firm's past experience with drinking water system improvement, maximum points was 25. In reviewing Sunquist, I gave them a 23. MSA, I gave them a 24. The experience with financing of drinking water system improvements, maximum points was 15. I gave Sunquist a 13. I gave MSA a 15. The firm's ability to provide both engineering and financing services, maximum points was 15. I gave Sunquist a 14 and MSA 15. Firm's availability of staff and capability of staff, maximum points 10. I gave each a 10. The firm's technical and financial resource, maximum points 10. I gave each of them a 10. The firm's geographic location, maximum points 5. Sunquist 5, MSA 3. Familiarity with the City of Wall Lake's drinking water system, maximum points 10. Sunquist 7, MSA 10. Firm's ability to complete the project in a timely manner and within the budget, maximum points 5. I gave them both a 5. Firm's integrity and compliance with the public policy, maximum points 5. I gave them both a 5. With Sunquist's total of being 92 and MSA's 97.
Where is this RFP? Which one am I looking at?
There's two.
I thought that was
Those are two.
I thought this was the RFQ.
These are the two here, and these are the two.
These are the on the grant, right?
These are the Qs, and these are the RFPs.
So the one you just went through was the RFQ.
Report of qualifications,
All right.
or request for qualifications, excuse me.
Okay.
And the other one was a request for a proposal.
The request for proposal is to basically do the grant application for CDBG.
Correct.
I had made a statement before you come into the room, I believe, on our, what our odds were in receiving the CDBG grant. I didn't give them very high marks. How do you feel that we fit into the viability of actually getting a CDBG grant here?
You have a viable project. It's been through DNR approval. You have approval in that sense. You're on the intended use plan. You have applied for local financing, which is the SRF State Revolving Fund. The application is you guys haven't decided on an amount or anything because the project hasn't been finalized at this point. And you're above 51% low and moderate income. I don't know their rubric or matrix for scoring, but I guess I can't comment on that. I don't sit down and write it. What I would say is your application has everything it needs to move forward and be selected by them. It's a matter of what they end up scoring at this point. And they don't release that information. They usually just pick, and they say, they'll give us comment letters every once in a while, like it's not, because if the project is outrageous or, expense-wise, they'll say this just isn't an affordable project or something like that. You guys aren't in that category. Or they'll say something to the effect of, they question the ability to proceed, whether the project is far enough in the process, and usually that's if it doesn't have any other financing already secured or applied for, and if it's not, hasn't even gone to the DNR for approval, that kind of thing, which you guys have that. So I would say your chances are as good as anybody else who's in that position where they have a project that is ready to go for the most part. You have all the requirements to put the application in.
The two that were here last time were under the impression that most CBDG grants that go in are for wastewater and not for wells, and they felt optimistic in that standpoint that we were on a water supply issue rather than the true statement, or is that just...
No, well, I guess how did they put it? There's two ways to look at that as I look at it. There aren't a lot of water projects that when if you compare the number of applications when they put the list out in March, when they look at all the applications, an overwhelming number of them, I would say 75 to 80% are wastewater. The reason that I see behind that is wastewater is a bigger issue right now with the DNR they're cracking down a lot more on wastewater permits and that kind of thing, and that's all trickling down from the EPA basically kind of snapping the whip at the DNR to do that. So you're going to see a lot more communities that, wastewater is one of those things, I guess as long as it's working, you just kind of let it work. Water's a different beast, I think. Cities tend to be a little more proactive with their water in making sure that it's good and it's clean, and it's a lot closer monitored than wastewater for the most part. So my theory is that you see less of those drinking water projects because the systems that are coming in, most of them are going along fairly okay, and they're meeting the regulations of the DNR and that kind of thing because they just kind of have to. And drinking water is, it's what you're putting into people's homes, that kind of thing. So it always ends up being a little more of a concern to a city than wastewater, at least in my experience with working with cities. So I would say that, yeah, an overwhelming number of the applications that CDBG gets are for wastewater, but that could work in that they're going to fund mostly wastewater projects, which is true because they get more applications in that. It's just, it's a simple percentage thing. But you guys may have a better chance because you do have a drinking water project, and there aren't a lot of them that come in. And they do set aside certain amounts each year for wastewater and water. It comes out of the same pool that they get from Housing and Urban Development, gets handed to IDED. IDED reviews the applications and then hands them out. But they have a set amount that they're going to give to wastewater and drinking water.